Welcome to Suburban Death Metal Dad Bonus Tracks, Episode 11. Thirsty for Metal Thursday. I'm going to throw out 5 releases, and one of them will be a newer release. So, not wasting any time, I'm starting with 1997's Forever Underground by Vital Remains. This is their third studio album, and the first and only with Joe Lewis, who is doing bass, also taking over vocal duties, and he does an amazing job, to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of Jeff Gresslin. I like the first two, especially the first one, but this one is just absolutely killer. And what a great title, Forever Underground. Next up, and I didn't really plan it this way, but just kind of realized last minute that there's something in common with the first release, and talking about from 2013 by Norway's Darkthrone, The Underground Resistance. So another underground release, and this is one with their blackened, I'd say more heavy metal style, and it's just a killer release. And I like, all different styles from Darkthrone, and but this is a really good point for me. And killer tracks like Valkyrie, The Ones You Left Behind, Leave No Cross Unturned, all with Fenders on vocals, actually. Those are my 3 favorite tracks, and he does a pretty good job at, doing King Diamond's falsetto vocals in spots, so he's not a bad vocalist, to be honest. So I do like this one, and I recommend it. Next up, going way back to 1987, killer German thrash metal release, maybe not talked about as much as the big 4 over there, but I'm talking about Deathrow and their second full-length, Raging Steel. And this is the first one I heard, and my favorite. Killer tracks like Scattered by the Wind, Dragon's Blood, Mortal Dread, The Thing Within, just all great tracks. Really cool bass playing, higher in the mix, and, killer leads and some acoustic parts, and it's just a really great thrash metal record. The only album they released, Midian, in 2000, and it's actually really, really good. And randomly watched this YouTube video where a guy had somehow purchased Killjoy's record collection, from Necrophagia. He passed away in 2018. And on the video, he's going through the records, and there's all these copies of this one record by a band I never heard of called Cabal, and it looked interesting. And so, I thought, why does the guy have so many copies of an album? Either he's on it or he produced it or something like that. So looked it up, and turns out Killjoy did vocals, and it's a totally different style from Necrophagia. This is like death thrash, so definitely one to check out if you're into that style. And when I was listening to it today to kind of get a refresher, I was like, it reminds me of something. I couldn't quite think of what it was, and then I went to Metal Archive, similar artists, and there it was, Exhorder, but without the groove. So like a death thrash Exhorder, those parts that they played in the early days on the first release, mostly Slaughter in the Vatican. So if you're a fan of that, more thrashy than groove, check it out. All right, last on the list, a new recommendation, a newer release from 2022, and I just picked this up maybe late last year, early this year sometime, and hadn't really even heard about it, but I saw it in the CD shop and checked out the name, looked on the internet because it looked interesting. Anyway, I'm talking about Rotten Casket and their 2022 EP, and yeah, it's basically like, it's Martin Van Drunen on vocals and the drummer Husky. It's basically like Asphyx, but also it reminded me of the band Paganizer from Sweden a bit, like with Martin on vocals. So it's a really cool EP. Opening track Hova 119 is good, really catchy. Caskets on Wheels as well, and Bone Tomb Residence is track number 3, and it's a cool song. So overall, yeah, it's a good EP, worth checking out if you're into Asphyx or maybe Paganizer with Martin Van Drunen on vocals. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.